Welcome to my way of playing Warlock. Warlock is a hero I rarely see in my games, and he doesn't get much love in the competitive scene either. Most people max Shadow Word or Fatal Bonds first when they play him, which I think is a mistake. His AoE slow spell Upheaval is an incredibly powerful spell, and I have had some great games maxing that spell first. Combine the spell with an incredibly powerful ultimate, strong both in the early game and devastating later if you can get Aghanim's and Refresher, and Warlock is surely no weak hero. According to Dota buff, only 2% max Upheaval first. I believe this is a big mistake. In most games with Warlock, you should max it first, and might be one of the most broken spells in Dota against the right heroes. If they don't have a Kentaur to counter it, or any heroes with Blink, Upheaval can be devastating in teamfights. An objection to getting Upheaval might be that it is a channeling spell, and thus very easy to cancel with stun or silence. Well, it is true that it can be cancelled, but the range is so high and the slow is so strong that it is often very hard for ranged stun heroes to get in range. Most of the times I cast it, I'm able to channel it for the full time. Note that Upheaval have a sticky time of 3 seconds, which means that even if your casting is disrupted, you will still slow them for an additional 3 seconds. So why do we see Upheaval so little in pub games, and to my knowledge almost never in competitive? Well, I'm not sure. It has been buffed a lot recently, so people may need time to adapt to what was formerly a bad spell. A few patches ago it got a huge buff. Cast range increased from 700 to 1200. I do believe this spell should be used way more than it currently is. I prefer maxing Shadow Word after Upheaval instead of Fatal Bonds. In theory, Fatal Bonds should synergize very well with this style of playing Warlock, but its range is simply too short. You want to stay far away and cast Golem and then Upheaval, and if you go close to Fatal Bonds you will be out of position and can quickly be focused down. Position is truly key when playing Warlock Upheaval. If you want to avoid getting flamed, you can get 1 point in Fatal Bonds at level 4, and then max Shadow Word after Upheaval, but in some games I have completely skipped it until level 10. Whether or not this suits your playstyle is up to you. Shadow Word also provides great utility for both you and your teammates, since the heal is very cost efficient in terms of mana. You can even get solo kills with Warlock when using Upheaval and Golem combo. You may wonder why this invoker didn't cold stab me. Well, even if he had reacted as fast as possible, it might not have saved him. The Upheaval is sticky for 3 seconds after I stopped channeling, so I would probably still have killed him. Most people's reaction when getting slowed is also just to run away. It is also possible to deny yourself with Golem if you're doomed or if Venomancer has spewed his ace all over you. Upheaval can also be a good spell for defending a push. If your whole team is dead and the enemy is about to push, you can slow them down a lot by prematurely casting Upheaval in front of your tower. You usually want to channel your spell for the full duration, since even though no one is in it, it is still useful for zoning people out. The best thing about playing Warlock is that if you cast Upheaval and you don't have any summons, you can do whatever you like while channeling the spell. I personally like to grab a quick snack while I watch my foes desperately trying to crawl away. Or sometimes I read a book while channeling. Choose your favorite pastime activity to customize your own Warlock experience. Be aware that you have to be a tough guy to play Warlock though, since your Golem's cries when he dies can be quite heartrending. I personally shed a tear every time my Golem cries out in despair. For items I prefer getting either Aghanim's into Refresher or getting an Economicon. Don't get Necro against Enchantress, since he can steal your summons. Consider getting Necro if you're against mana dependent heroes, such as Morphling, or have Invis heroes. Right now I lean more towards going Aghanim's Refresher than Necro. I only get Brown Boot before Aghanim's and nothing else except a TB score. If I'm a farmer on my team, I like to start with a Null Talisman though, since it helps his last hitting a lot. Remember that BKB negates the effect of Upheaval. It's only really a problem when you have 10-second BKBs. Later it will be much less useful against Upheaval. So go out there and show all these nerds who underestimate Upheaval how powerful the spell is. and practice your most demoniacal slahser while you watch your foes struggle in quicksand. As Auri2000 said in a Reddit thread about Upheaval a few days ago, if you don't scale Upheaval, you aren't playing Warlock right. I have uploaded a full point of view perspective of one of my Warlock games, so you can check that out to see precisely how I play it. Dendy is playing the Magnus on my team, and I think the average MMR is about 6k. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe and check out my other hero guides.